around and tell them what to do, and they just get to act a fool. Free Beyonce.
We love y'all. We love y'all. We want y'all to get it right, at least get it close to right. And obviously it's subjective. Y'all don't got to clap at every.
They built their empire on keeping quiet. But now the silence is breaking, and it's loud. Beyoncé and JayZ are caught in a storm that's way bigger than just music, money, or fame. This time it's messy. We're talking betrayal, legacy, and a secret so wild it could shake the entire Carter dynasty. Word in the courtrooms and leaked documents suggest that JayZ might have been hit with a court order to take a DNA test.
We wanted to find out who my father was, and for the case not to go how I was planning it, I really thought it was going to go different than.
Why? Because Ramir Satwa, a 31-year-old man who looks like he could be Jay's twin, claims he's the result of a hidden fling back in the early 90s. If this test confirms what Ramir's been shouting for over 10 years, it won't just be about paternity paperwork. It could throw a grenade into one of the most tightly guarded marriages in the industry. And whispers say Beyoncé might already be preparing to slide that crown off and walk away. Behind the curtains, it looks like Bey has been plotting her exit like a master chess player. Silent, sharp, and steps ahead. Real estate trackers spotted some eyebrow-raising moves. Quiet purchases of luxury pads in Malibu and Paris, all done through secret names and hush-hush deals. And aviation watchers? They've clocked multiple solo flights under aliases tied to her team. Even her security crew's been rearranged, with longtime bodyguards suddenly pulled from Jay's detail.
It's not just about me. If I gotta fight for all of us, I will, but I won't let the court systems just walk over me. I won't let JayZ, I won't let no one just walk over me and tell me something because y'all just saying this. I want the truth. And if we can't go to the Supreme Courts, the regular courts, to find out the truth, what are they here for?
Yeah, all right, we'll get to the legal things that you've been through, the battles.
One of them allegedly said, she's been gearing up for independence like it's her next world tour. That's not just space. That's a straight-up disconnect. And let's keep it real, Beyoncé doesn't do random. She plans everything, from billion-dollar business moves to controlling every inch of her public image. She's got 3 kids, global power, and a brand that could go toe-to-toe with tech empires. She's not moving loose. Now let's talk signals, because when it comes to Beyoncé, she doesn't speak unless she means it. Fans have obsessed for years over her 4-ring tattoo, a match with Jay's, marking their birthdays, wedding, and what they once called destiny. But lately, that 4 is straight up missing, laser removed, hidden in photos, and now, gone. Instead, her ring finger's iced out with high-end bling that's got zero connection to the past. And for a woman who crafts her Instagram captions like they're gospel, this wasn't just a style switch, it was a silent goodbye. Some fans tried to brush off Beyoncé's missing tattoo as just a style change, but insiders are calling it exactly what it looks like. A cold, calculated message. And guess what? Things are getting even juicier. Multiple insiders connected to the legal drama surrounding the Ramir Satwa situation are saying this might not be a simple family mess.
Obviously it's subjective because, it's music and it's opinion-based, but, some things.
God in there. So at what age then did you start to question, who your parents could be?
Well, I wouldn't say I started to question it, but I said around like 7, maybe 6. I think it started at 6, and my mom was just telling me that my father wasn't my father, but as a kid, I really didn't look.
They're calling it a full-blown separation simulation. According to one entertainment lawyer with links to Rock Nation, Beyoncé's team didn't wait for trouble to show up. They started building a legal wall back in 2021. She allegedly hired offshore trust experts, got separate lease agreements for herself and the kids, and even brought in a second legal squad focused solely on family law. Not business, not deals, just personal protection. Yup, sounds like divorce prep, not because she was caught off guard, but because she saw the storm coming before it hit. This wasn't panic, this was planning. Now back to Ramir. He's not just some tabloid headline. This guy has spent over a decade trying to get JayZ to recognize him as his son. His mom, Wanda, submitted affidavits. His guardians pushed for legal recognition. But every time they got close, poof, documents sealed, cases tossed, and legal doors slammed shut. It's been a young man with no father figure fighting against one of the most powerful celebrity machines in the world. But now, things have shifted. Deep in a stack of new court filings, a thread finally pulled loose. Sources say a judge, name still unknown, has officially ordered JayZ to take that DNA test. And Beyoncé? She's reportedly done waiting around to see how he plays this out. We're hearing the trust between them is shattered, not just because of what Ramir claims, but because of how long this whole thing was kept buried. Word is, Beyoncé knew about the rumors years ago, but what she didn't know was just how far JayZ's team may have gone to shut it all down. And now, the real story is creeping out from the shadows. We're hearing whispers, not from blogs, but straight from two ex-Rock Nation execs, and even a paralegal tied to that New Jersey case. They claim JayZ's lawyers may have pulled some shady moves behind the scenes.
Basically, my mom was at a show, and she was with a friend. And y'all know, I guess her and her friend stayed to, after the show, he was doing little signings and little autographs and stuff like that. I guess he wasn't too big, but you know, I guess females, when the show is over, you can sign little autographs and stuff like that, talk to the people who perform. She said she went up there. Never got anything, so why wouldn't I believe my mom? Like, you know, we could have been settled this, and it only takes a conversation and some words, you know. I'm not a hateful guy. I don't hate anyone. I'm not after nobody. I'm not trying to see no one downfall, but this is just some, you know, some things that just went through court, and they just expected me to just sit there and just take what they were saying. I can't.
Allegedly, there were favors, maybe even deals, offered to a court insider who had ties to Rock Nation, all to get Ramir's case tossed out on a technicality. That bomb hasn't hit the mainstream yet, but inside music law circles, it's blowing up fast. If any of that turns out to be legit, this isn't just personal drama anymore, it's major. We'd be talking about a full-on scheme to shut down a man's fight for identity, all to keep a billion-dollar image spotless. And Beyoncé? This would flip her whole narrative upside down. She's known as the queen of women's strength, family healing, and motherhood power. But if these allegations hold weight, she'd suddenly be seen as someone who stood silent while a young man got buried legally. That's not just messy, that's brand damaging. All that quiet confidence, now it's looking a little too polished, a little too planned. At some point, silence stops being strength and starts looking like a PR move, and fans are noticing. Their public appearances have started to feel weird, chilly even.
He took them to some apartment building, and you know, they did what they did in there, you know, talked a little bit, had a good time, party, and I guess had, you know, I can't fully talk as my mom because I'm not my mom. I'm just telling you guys what she told me. It was this, and I honestly just believe it. You know, it's just no doubt.
15 years.
Oh, Mr. Diddy, aka Mr. Love. Now, Dr.
No,
Love,
Sean Carter.
Oh.
Separate entrances at red carpets, forced smiles with zero touch, and let's not forget that strange dinner in LA. They sat on opposite ends of the table, barely spoke, and were flanked by handlers like it was a business meeting, not a family meal. And when Beyoncé showed up with Blue Ivy at the opening of JayZ's big exhibit in Brooklyn, she came in a different car, flashed a staged smile for the cameras, and dipped before the after-party even got started. One staffer at the library event didn't hold back. She looked like a woman doing a job, not a wife honoring her man. And that line, it hit hard. Because now, fans are realizing the warmth, the spark, the realness in those pictures? It's been missing. The smiles are stiff, the chemistry's gone, and suddenly, the silence makes more sense. Now the internet's doing what it does best, digging. People are rewatching old interviews, decoding lyrics, and pulling clips from past performances. One moment that's blowing up? At the Renaissance film premiere, JayZ leaned in for a kiss, and Beyoncé tilted her head just enough so it landed on her cheek. Subtle, but cold. Then there's her stage looks. Fans are clocking the shift. No more deep blues or romantic blacks. She's rocking bold golds and silvers now. flashy diamonds over her wedding ring. And the biggest red flag? Not once has she mentioned JayZ in her speeches. Not even during her record-breaking award wins. She gave love to her family, her fans. But her husband? Nothing. Not even a shout-out. And while Bey's actions are loud in their silence, JayZ's crisis just keeps spiraling. He's facing a new round of lawsuits tied to the paternity case, and whispers of past misconduct are bubbling back up. Some of these claims go way past denial. The talk now includes fraud and murkier stuff that's not going away easily. Meanwhile, Beyoncé looks like she's slipping out the back door. Her team is playing it safe, avoiding media chaos, brushing off divorce rumors with vague denials, and even posting throwback family pics to make everything seem stable. But insiders know the script. Controlled images, no hand-holding, slow removal of the Mrs. Carter identity. This is rebranding in real time. We've seen this before, and it doesn't end with a happy home pic. And for those still thinking this might just be a phase, a trusted source from her Houston inner circle says she's already met twice with a heavyweight family law attorney. The type who specializes in big money, low drama splits. Beyoncé's not scrambling, she's strategizing. This ain't gossip, this is time-stamped. And if that court-ordered DNA test proves what Ramir's been claiming since way back in 2010, Beyoncé's exit might not just be personal anymore. It might turn into a full-on political statement. Because let's be real, she's positioned herself as a symbol of justice reform, womanhood, and strength. So how long can she stand silently beside a partner tied up in a mess like this? The pressure to walk away isn't just emotional, it's about image, values, and reputation. Remember, this isn't just about who's the father. This is about a legacy. JayZ and Beyoncé didn't just get married, they built a whole mythology. Music's Bonnie and Clyde, the ultimate power couple. But if even half of these rumors are true, bribery, backroom favors, a child erased from the narrative, then everything they've built could come crumbling down. We're talking brand damage that hits harder than any scandal they've faced. And the scariest part? The fuse might already be burning. These whispers about court influence didn't come from tabloid writers. They came from insiders. People in the room, people who saw the moves being made. And if that goes public, the damage won't just be about a marriage ending, it'll be about the truth finally catching up. With receipts. Beyoncé's team has stayed locked down. No official statements, no reactions. But that silence is starting to look less like dignity and more like protection. And underneath all that stillness, something way more explosive is brewing. Because if this breakup is really going down behind the scenes, and all signs say it is, the aftermath isn't going to be about who keeps the mansion or the matching outfits. It's going to be about what gets exposed. What started as one man fighting to be seen could end up pulling the curtain back on 10 years of sealed court records, missing documents, and too many names showing up in too many places. And guess what? Some of those places? They're now tied to active federal investigations. Oh, and we've got the receipts. JayZ's Gulfstream jet logs, traced, pulled from a civil aviation database that tracks private flights. And let's just say, those routes raise a lot of questions, and what we uncovered only brings more heat to the fire. A former Roc Nation insider confirmed something wild. JayZ's private jet was logged landing in Miami just days before one of Sean Diddy Combs' infamous freak-off weekends allegedly took place. Another record puts Jay's jet at Teterboro Airport in Jersey, the same launch point for flying select guests to Diddy's now scrutinized upstate estate. That same estate, it's currently under a magnifying glass for serious allegations tied to forced misconduct. So the big question is, why was JayZ's plane there? Was it bad luck or intentional proximity? And here's where it gets icy. A former Roc Nation staffer, speaking only under anonymity because of fear of backlash, said this flat out, "Jay knew what went down at Diddy's parties. Everyone who got that invite knew. You didn't show up to those weekends by mistake, and you didn't roll with your own crew. You used their people. On purpose." If that's real, then this isn't just awkward guest list drama. It's not just guilt by association. It's logistics. There's a trail, flight records, dates, people involved. And sources say Beyoncé's known about that trail for months, maybe even longer. If that's true, then her silence doesn't just sound like self-preservation. It looks like strategy, like she's been quietly pulling away, staying clean, staying distant, not just from Jay, but from a bigger mess that could drag down more than just their marriage. Let's be honest, Beyoncé's mastered the art of communicating without saying a word. She's got her own secret language, built on looks, movements, symbols, absences. And when she wiped that IV tattoo off her finger, that wasn't just a breakup sign, that was a ritual. That tattoo marked their birthdays, their vows, their entire love story. Scrubbing it off wasn't casual. It was like a private funeral. A farewell the world didn't even realize was happening. And now? That silence, that calculated stillness, might be her shield from something way deeper than heartbreak. This didn't just blow up overnight. Way before things started unraveling publicly, Beyoncé was already dropping signs, quiet, calculated signals wrapped in glam. Remember that Pixie cut back in 2013? Most folks chalked it up to a bold fashion flex. But insiders now say it was anything but random. Stylists close to her circle revealed it was mapped out like a message: post-tour, post-burnout, and post-trust. That chop wasn't about changing her look. It was about shedding layers, from sudden hairstyle flips to yanking off her ring to freezing out JayZ on red carpets. These weren't style choices. They were silent declarations of control. When your every word gets picked apart, you stop speaking and let the visuals do the work. And what Beyoncé's body language has been screaming lately? Cold, distant, done. During her Renaissance era, her whole aesthetic changed. Glittery, dazzling, but strangely untouchable. Covered, yet commanding. All power, no partnership. This isn't just Beyoncé stepping away from JayZ, it's her stepping away from the Carter myth. The fairy tale's over, and she's not crying. She's recalculating. Every public move since has followed that same tone. No slip-ups, no soft moments. She's been in mourning behind the scenes, yes, but now, she's past that. She's sharpening her image, getting ready to step into a brand new version of herself. Strategic, solo, and 2 steps ahead. And right in the middle of this storm is Ramir, the man who says he just wants the truth. Court documents and media statements show he's been pushing for recognition for years. But it hasn't been easy or safe. Sources tied to the legal case say that in the months before his most recent filing, Ramir received anonymous warning calls telling him to back off. And here's the twist. 2 of those numbers? Traced to digital lines linked to an internal list at a major PR agency, the same one Beyoncé's team reportedly uses for crisis control and media image work. So let's be real. Why would anyone from her camp need to monitor, much less contact, the alleged son of her husband? What's really going on here? Beyoncé's never publicly acknowledged Ramir's family, not once. So why would her crisis team be circling around a paternity case filed by someone the world believed was a complete stranger? Unless he wasn't a stranger, unless he was closer to her orbit than anyone was supposed to find out. And here's where it gets even messier. If Beyoncé truly had zero involvement in keeping the truth hidden, why does her name reportedly appear in the metadata of legal documents tied to this case? One former paralegal, who worked briefly with a law firm connected to the situation, said she was specifically warned, "Don't mention the singer. We're not supposed to name her in emails." That's not staying out of it. That's silent coordination. And it gets darker from here. Legal watchdogs digging into the court files have uncovered serious red flags. Missing timestamps, key hearings that were never scheduled, entire affidavits sealed with no explanation. This wasn't just sloppy paperwork. This looks like intentional misdirection. Even more suspicious? Multiple court clerks in New Jersey were quietly reassigned during the same period Ramir's filings were supposedly misfiled or delayed. One judge, who was tied not only to Ramir's case but also to separate business contracts with Roc Nation, just retired. No press, no goodbye, no reason given. Just vanished from the bench. If this is a cover-up, it's not some small favor between friends. We're talking about a full-blown system of institutional protection built around one of pop culture's most powerful empires. A machine built not only to shield JayZ, but also to make sure Beyoncé never had to answer for what she might have known all along. Because at this point, the question isn't just, is JayZ the father? It's way deeper now. We're looking at the legal weight of that birth, and it gets serious fast. According to reports, Ramir's mother, Wanda Satterthwaite, was just 16 when she got pregnant. That fact alone opens up a whole new set of legal concerns, and if Beyoncé knew anything about it, silence might not be enough to keep her out of the fallout. JayZ was in his early 20s. If that relationship happened the way it's being claimed, and in a state where the age of consent was 17, this whole situation could blow up way past paternity, straight into criminal territory. And here's the piece nobody's saying out loud, not yet. If Beyoncé knew about this years ago, if she knew a possible statutory violation was buried inside her husband's darkest secret and kept quiet, then we're looking at a real problem. Not just for JayZ, but for the entire brand Beyoncé built her empire on. We've been sold Beyoncé as a feminist powerhouse, a leader for women, a symbol of strength, healing, legacy. But what happens when that brand gets held up next to the idea that she may have stayed silent? That she may have helped protect the man behind it all just to keep their empire untouched? So now the question is her quiet exit a moment of righteous clarity? Or is it a calculated pivot before the explosion? Because let's not act like this is over. Court orders, they can get unsealed at any time. Depositions leak. And if Ramir finally gets the DNA result he's been chasing for more than 10 years, everything flips. This won't stop at headlines. It could set off a chain reaction. We're talking new lawsuits, appeals to reopen cases that were tossed out on technicalities. And if those sealed files crack open, it's not just paperwork. There could be receipts, financial transfers, internal emails, hush money deals, communication between lawyers and PR fixers. And if those come out, then we're not just watching a marriage collapse. We're watching the slow, public implosion of an empire that survived everything except the truth. So let's ask it straight. What if that DNA test proves JayZ is the father? What if the truth doesn't just reveal betrayal, but something criminal? And what if Beyoncé, the queen of perfect control, knew it all along and helped bury it under world tours, fragrance drops, and flawlessly rehearsed Grammy speeches? Is she walking away from a scandal or walking out to make sure hers stays buried? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this storm, it's just beginning. And if the Carter Empire falls, it won't be an outside attack. It'll be a collapse from within. Watch the throne.